Thanks for coming. Take a seat, take a seat. Now, this is your first time here at Rouleur Live. I was quite surprised, so welcome along.
Thank you.
How have you found the show so far? I know you've been having a little wander and a ganders around.
Yeah, I felt a little bit like a kid again. Just looking at all the bikes, all the brands. As a kid, I never visited a trade show like this. So yeah, super happy to be here.
Well, we're very, very happy to have you here, and I think we're all honoured to hear you for the very first time at the show. Now, I want to take it right back to the early days for you, and you come from a very esteemed cycling family. Your father was a professional, your uncle Edvig was a professional. He won many, many races during his illustrious career. But for you, where did life on two wheels start?
It actually started with a red card during a soccer game. So.
For what? What happened?
I'm not able to disclose here. But yeah, I got a red card at a soccer game, and then I decided that's it for me. I'm gonna start cycling now. I think I was 11 years old or something. The week after, I got a mountain bike from my dad. Started riding around, getting lapped by Mathieu van der Poel in our local cyclocross races, and yeah, I never stopped racing since then, basically. Yeah.
Did it give you, I don't know, great fun? Was it adrenaline? What was it about being on the bike and being, on the mountain bike?
Yeah, I felt free, and also soccer training was twice a week at 8 o'clock at night. So I felt obliged to go almost. And as a cyclist, I was free. I could ride my bike to school, and I could ride my bike back, do an extra loop. I felt more comfortable doing the sport, basically, and I immediately fell in love. And I also I got suspended for 4 weeks by the red card, and I never went back to the soccer game again.
That was it. Football career was finito.
Yeah, and then I had to commit to a second career, which was cycling. Yeah.
Those early days, then, when you're going through the ranks and you're a teenager. Was it something you always took seriously, knowing that your uncle had been a professional, your father had been a professional, or was it just for pure enjoyment?
No, I took it seriously, but I also realized that I was quite talented. I had way more talent in cycling than I had in soccer, and my father always kept me with my foot on the ground, and he always made sure that I was just doing training. He never forced me into anything because he was very. He let me very free as a kid, but he wanted to make sure that I knew nothing came for free, and that I had to do a little bit of training in order to perform in the weekends. So that's basically how I rolled into it. And the older you get to go to World Championships as a junior. So then you realize. These guys are also quite strong. That's me as a junior.
Throwback. Do you remember which race this was?
No, I don't. This might have been the World Championships in Valkenburg, where I came in sixth, and then I realized that I was, with the right work ethics, I could perform on a high level, and then I took it very seriously from there on. Yeah.
Do you think that really helped you then when you were growing up, knowing that nothing came for free just because you had this famous surname, that you didn't get given it all on a plate? The fact that your father instilled a lot of good values into you?
Yeah, I think my last name was sometimes even a disadvantage as a kid, because all the fathers from all my competitors were saying you need to follow Van Hooydonck because they come from a cycling family and they know how to race. That made it sometimes very frustrating, especially on a bad day. On a good day, you could maybe drop them, or you knew you could maybe win in the sprint. But on bad days, it was a little bit more difficult sometimes. Yeah.
For your development, you went, and I guess it was a little bit unconventional for many Belgians that you went to Bissell, the development team over in the US, which of course was managed by Axel Merckx, a Belgian, of course. For you, how was that time? What was that step like to move abroad, move to a foreign team and be surrounded by, the majority were from the USA, but you were also there with Theo Geoghegan, and I know you became great friends together.
Yeah, we were friends before I joined the team. Theo and I, we raced together. We were on the podium together in Paris-Roubaix. We raced together during the junior category, so he's still a great friend of mine. But it was a huge step. I was 18 years old. I got I finished high school on Friday, and I left for the US on Monday.
Wow!
So all alone, and I can still remember my mom crying because she saw her son leave for close to 4 months, I would say. So there was a huge step, but I also realized there that cycling is really based in Europe, and that's also why I made the change to BMC development team afterwards. But yeah. My time in Bissell development team was obviously great. Yeah.
What was it that you learned from that period then? You know, being away, you're not going like normal 18-year-olds to university, for example, but you're living away. You're living on the other side of the pond, as we call it. You're living on the other side of the Atlantic. What was it like?
It was, if I knew what everything was going to happen, I would be terrified actually to leave as an 18-year-old, but I was just not thinking about it. I can still remember myself running around Chicago airport because I was going to miss my connection flight. I had to take my bag to declare it to customs, and yeah, I was 18 years old, so I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna try and go there, without thinking what could happen, you know. I was just being a kid, basically, and I was living my dream. To answer your question, what it was like, it was amazing. But I also realized in order to become a professional cyclist at a high level, I needed to race in Europe.
Did you think it made you grow up very, very quickly?
Yeah, of course.
Having that change?
Yeah. I think it did. Also because I was 18 years old, I was having dinner every night with 23-year-olds who are a little bit more mature than an 18-year-old. And then when I turned professional, I was having dinner with Martin Elmiger, who was 40 years old. So these guys were having kids. Yeah, you're having completely different conversations compared to the conversation you're having with your friends. Yeah. That's a huge difference.
That moment when you received your first pro contract, where were you? What was the feeling when you received that contract?
I was at home basically when Alan Piper called me, and he said, Nathan, after careful consideration, we are offering you a pro contract. And I tried to play it cool, but I think I was super excited.
Trying to keep calm, or was it just elation? Because it comes with a lot of hard work.
Yeah, it does come with a lot of hard work, but that was the moment I always dreamt of. I mean, I also, and this, it might sound arrogant, but I was so convinced I'm going to make it as a professional. There was no other option for me. I committed my whole life to becoming a professional cyclist, and once that phone call comes in, it's a huge relief, and it's also, you also feel successful all at once, because you make your dream become reality.
You spent those early days with BMC, which then turned into CCC, and how were those early days as a career, learning to be a professional, those days as a neo-pro?
It was, I was learning a lot. I was doing a lot of work with for my leaders, and I was basically just enjoying. I didn't know what to expect. So the first years at BMC, I was basically living my dream. I got paid to ride a bike. It's crazy if you think about it, but that was my life for a little bit. So I was. Super grateful for the chance BMC gave me, but I felt like my career got serious when I joined Jumbo-Visma.
Yeah, you joined Jumbo-Visma in 2021, and you were a part of the success of Primož Roglič in the Vuelta a España when he won there. You'd already done one Grand Tour. You had one Grand Tour under your belt by then. That was back in 2019. Here you are on the podium. It was in Santiago that year, wasn't it? Santiago de Compostela, finishing with that time trial. How was that to support someone to a Grand Tour victory?
That was amazing. Also because Primož was so confident in the fact that he was going to win, so it's very easy to sacrifice your own chances on maybe a potential stage win if everything goes right. So yeah, from there on, I also really committed my career to helping others, because I got so much satisfaction from it. And I was like, I can now either choose to become a leader in a little smaller team, or I can become a domestique in one of the biggest teams in the world, and I can ride the biggest races in the world. So yeah.
Where does that satisfaction come from for you? Is it something you've always enjoyed to do, to be an incredible teammate and someone who your big leaders can rely on? I mean, how did you find that role? Yeah,
I didn't look for it. I didn't search for that role, but it just happened. I mean, this picture is maybe a highlight of my career. Wout is still one of my great friends. I was just on a phone call with him for 30 minutes, just talking about life, and I feel very grateful for the moments I got to share with him on the bike. Also with Jonas, of course. But working for leaders that are so grateful for your work as well makes your job so much easier.
Yeah, it must make you feel that they appreciate all of the work that you're doing, and it's not taken for granted. And the fact that you've been, a great support to Primož, and then of course to the 2 Tours de France victories that Jonas had, it must feel like a victory in your own right.
Yeah, it was a victory of my own. I can still remember when we were crossing the finish line of the Champs-Élysées for the first time. Felt like I had won the Tour de France, and I know it's not the case. I'm definitely not capable of winning the Tour de France, but that was my yellow jersey. For Jonas, he wanted to win it, and I wanted to make sure we won it as a team. That was just why I went out on training, and why I left my wife to go on altitude camp for 4 weeks a year. So these are this is why I did it.
When you see these images now, what's the feeling when you reflect and you look back on your career and you see what you've been a part of and what you have achieved?
I'm super proud. I'm super proud on the things I have achieved as a teammate. I'm also proud on the things the guys achieved where I got to be part of. But I also miss it at the same time. I would like to by a click of my fingers go back to the Champs-Élysées. It's these are the moments I lived for, and they're not. It's hard to realize they're not coming back. Basically, yeah.
It must be incredibly difficult for you, the fact that your career came to an abrupt end last year, and for you, incredibly difficult that it's not you saying, "Well, this is when I want my career to come to an end." You've now got an ICD fitted in as a transplant for yourself. It must be incredibly difficult, but how do you deal with that, Nathan?
With ups and downs, and I would say definitely more downs than ups, because this was my life. I mean, cycling was my life, and all of a sudden it's taken away from you. It's not that you cannot do your job anymore, and for somebody just having a job in the real world, I would say. My passion was taken away. I can still ride my bike, but it doesn't feel the same anymore. So yeah, it was super difficult. I struggled a lot, but all of a sudden I also realized that I'm only 28 years old, and if I wanted to make something else of my life, I had to do it myself. I had to get out of bed, and I had to get out there and go into the real world to try and build up a second career. So once I realized that, I also tried to do so, which was also very difficult because you need to embrace the pain a little bit, and it sounds very weird when I say it, but that's what it felt like basically.
I saw you at the Tour de France, and of course, a year on after your last Tour de France, and that was when you were a rider, and you were in a different capacity, different role. You were working there for Visma Lease Bike and looking after all of their VIP guests and taking them around and showing them the race. But it seems like you've got a great support network around you to help you and to help you through those tough times.
Yeah, the team has obviously been great for me as a person as well. I mean, I was really struggling, and the team offered me all kinds of ways to stay involved and being around on the races, because you saw me at the Tour de France, but I was also there at Tour of Flanders and during all the spring classics, and that going to the races, and that was for me looking the pain in the eyes, because I saw these guys leaving, and I saw them racing up Oude Quaremont, and these were the races I was living for. And all of a sudden, I'm just watching and driving guests, interesting guests sometimes, but that's still not.
You want to be on the bike. You want to be racing.
You want to do. And the team really they offered me this opportunity. I took it, and that also made sure that I was able to step to move forward in my recovery, I would say. Yeah.
Incredibly difficult, but it's for you. The next steps, you're doing some commentary, punditry. You're effectively my colleague when we were at Eurosport, and I know when I've been at the Classics, you've been in the studio on the breakaway, which has been incredibly well received, and I know for many watching here, they've thoroughly enjoyed your input, and you've been so insightful, you've been funny, you've been a joy to watch, and I hope it continues. I hope to see you continue in some of that role as well. Yeah,
I hope so too, because I really like it, and it doesn't really feel as a job. Maybe I shouldn't say it here, but and some of you also might have caught me swearing on TV as well. Sorry.
That certainly gave everyone a laugh, I have to say.
Yeah, it might be. No, but I really like giving commentary on Eurosport as well. It's just I get to share my passion again, also with people that are passionate about the race. Guys like Rob Hedge and Sean Kelly, Orla on the show. It is amazing to be part of that small team. But on the other hand, I also joined Team Visma Lease Bike on the commercial side, which is also a full-time job. So I will need to try to squeeze it in next year. Squeeze it
in. I'm curious to know what it's like, Nathan, when you're a part of a Grand Tour winning team, and inside on the day-to-day, of course, we see those incredible shots on the Champs-Élysées with Jonas or in Santiago with Primož, but on the day-to-day, during that 3 weeks of racing, how it is inside the team bus, the pressures that come with having to win and having to deliver.
Yeah, there is always a lot of pressure from ourselves, never from the team actually, because the team is just facilitating everything in order to perform at our maximum, and the best possible result is winning, of course, but they're never putting really a lot of pressure on the riders because I think that would work. That wouldn't work well. But we, as riders, obviously we want to win, and we start talking about it on our first altitude camp. So that yellow jersey, that win on the Champs-Élysées is really something that is carried out by the riders. They really believe in it every day, and we have always a very structured plan. We always stick to our plan, and we always believe in our plan as well, because in order to make something work, you need to believe in it, and everybody needs to be committed. And then you just go through day by day, and you maybe look at the Queen stage or where you really want to make your move. This is not a very structured plan, I would say.
We can't bypass this moment, because this was quite something. Jonas needed a bike change, he changed with you, and you're 1.92 m, I think it's 6'3". Jonas is 5'8". The bike definitely does not fit. It was a moment where you could start to see, are things starting to unravel? There's a little bit of panic, and then he changes bike with Stephen Kruijswijk, bike, who's still, the bike is still too big, because by which point I think he's on your bike.
Yeah, I'm very happy there are no pictures of me on Jonas's bike, but that also looked very, very bad, I would say.
Oh, here we go.
Because now here I'm arriving on Jonas's bike. This was pure stress. It was only stress. Jonas was super stressful because he realized, here I can lose the Tour de France. It was a terrible, terrible day for us. Also because later on Primož crashed out. But yeah, that was not very well planned, I would say. But then you also see that we are committed to a plan. But then you also have people have emotions. Jonas was very stressful. Like you could see it from everything. All his behavior in the bus was completely different. And yeah, he just couldn't stay calm. We had a laugh about it afterwards, but at that time,
But I guess you can laugh about it when it's still kept together. Although you had that moment of high stress and pressure on your shoulders.
Yeah, I think.
But if it went wrong, it wouldn't be something to laugh about.
No, that's also what I said. I also told him we also could have lost the Tour de France here. But yeah, I think people are always gonna react to their emotions, and it is how you cope with it afterwards. I mean, the team directors, they were able to keep us together as a team, and also if they would have lost their head, then the Tour de France might have been over there. So yeah, they kept it together for us, and we just executed basically.
I was going to say, you've all got earpieces and you've all got radios. What do you even remember anything that might have been said in the radio from the sports directors at the time, or what was going on? What was the communication other than probably some profound words?
I think I don't know. I can't say these are the exact words because I don't know, but I think Grisha said, I don't know who's on whose bike, but Jonas has a spare bike. That were the words of Grisha, and then they were just giving us super clear details on what to do. Basically, Grisha immediately switched and immediately said, Nathan, now you need to chase Jonas back. As soon as we were with Wout, Primož crashed. So once we got to Primož, Wout and Christophe were taking care of Jonas. Tish and I, we had to wait for Primož. It was all super clear for us, although it was chaos on television.
How much and how important is it to have sports directors in the car who are clear, precise, and calm and collected, and particularly in a moment like this?
Yeah, I think it's vital. On moments like this here, we could have lost the Tour de France if they had lost their mind or they lost their cool. So it's super important, and sometimes sports directors, they can have super relaxed days when nothing much is happening, but on days like this, they make the difference between winning and losing.
Absolutely, they do. And for you weren't just a super domestique, a super teammate in Grand Tours for Primož and Jonas, but you had some good results yourself in the classics, and for you that's where you really thrived. And even from the early days, even to 2023, you were second at Kuurne-Brussels-Kuurne. You had a top 10 place in Gent-Wevelgem. It was actually a 1-2 in Kuurne-Brussels-Kuurne with Tish winning. How was that to take a 1-2?
Yeah, it was special, super special. But I had some okay results myself in 2023. But I always I achieved those results with the mindset of I'm going to help the others. And I'm gonna,
wow.
So I never thought about I want to perform myself here. But yeah, that 1-2 was amazing. I mean, we had to come up with a plan on how to beat Matej Mohoric and Tim Wellens and Taco van der Hoorn, I think, from the front group. And we did, without speaking to each other, we just, based on our race principles and how we race as a team, we just managed to do it. I attacked a few times. I made sure these guys were all, everybody was on the limit, and here I go immediately to the right side because then I knew I would open up the road for Tish to attack, because I also knew the attack was coming, and I could have won the race if somebody reacted, but. For me, this outcome was perfectly fine.
Incredible performance. And do you think that kind of way of racing, the fact that you didn't communicate to each other, you didn't speak to each other, is that down to the experience? Is it just, are you born with that natural instinct?
I don't think so. I think we as a team, we have our, like I said, our race principles. So we know how we want to race and how we want to, how we deal with each other and deal with each other's behavior in the race, and we know that always the main goal needs to be to win. So everybody knows what's best to do in order to win. So you might be born with it a little bit, because some riders, they need always clear directions from the team car. But once you get to know the race principles we use in Team Visma Lease bike, I think racing can be quite easy sometimes.
Just before we came on stage, you said to me, Juan Antonio Fletcher was, and still is, one of my idols, one of my heroes as a bike rider. And I know for you it was incredibly special to just hear the back end of Juan's chat with Alejandro just then. For you, what made Juan Antonio such a special rider for you? What was it in him that, or the way he raced?
It was just the way he raced, basically. He was always racing with a lot of grinta, and he was never leaving opportunities there. He was always trying to seize opportunities. I also like his victory salute. It was also super cool, and that's just somebody I looked up to as a kid. Yeah.
Gave you inspiration. It was just, I guess maybe. The fact he was a Spanish rider who could thrive in the classics. Traditionally we always see the Belgians, the Dutch thriving, or what was it?
He inspired me a little bit, definitely, because I'm guilty of trying his victory salute as well. When I was a kid, I was just riding up and down in my street and then taking the arrow and shooting the arrow. Super cool, of course. In Belgium, everybody is fan of Tom Bonne or typical classic Belgian riders, and Fabian Cancellara was also a big hero of mine, but Juan Antonio Fletcher was one of them as well. Yeah.
Incredible. Nathan, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you here and get to hear your story, and for you to be here for your very first Rouleur Live. And I know for how silent it is in this room, how much everybody's enjoyed this. Nathan, wonderful. Thank you very much.